When you are in the state that I'm talking about, what from the former point of view would have appeared to be nothing more than ordinary everyday life is suddenly seen to be a magical process. Absolutely weird. So that you can see that you might be just rubbing around in some ash. It becomes perfectly obvious that that's the whole point of the universe. Incredible. I mean, it's all there. Infinity in the grain of sand and everything. That's it. And you look at other people rushing around and people going about their business every day, serious. I'm going to get there, I'm going to make this thing. And they're quite mad. You feel sorry for them. You don't feel angry at them. But they're quite mad. They don't realize that now is it. That's where it's all going, as well as where it all comes from. The Alpha and the Omega is now. The whole surround of us is completely magical. Now, of course, we become aware that imaginative people are conscious of this. Imaginative people show their consciousness of it by the way they act, by their taste in whatever they surround themselves with. You begin to notice that there are some certain people with whom you either have great accord or great fear, because they're not ordinary, because they have an atmosphere of magic. They have imagination, and they're not hiding under an attempt to conform to the ideal of being ordinary. And the artistic people are here. There are also people you can call relaxed people. Relaxed society is a very wonderful class of people. They're not on edge. You know, there are some people who are edgy all the time, and you feel that your very presence around their place is a mess. But relaxed people have what in Arabic is called barakah. It means divine grace, but it also means the quality of an old frying pan that has had long years of use and is just perfect. That's barakah. And there are people like that too, you see. And all these are the great spontaneous virtues that cannot be contrived, because this thing can only come in the process of growth. So you say, well, do I have to wait? But the whole thing is in the waiting. I don't mean the virtue of patience. I mean waiting when there is nothing to do but wait. And when you see there is nothing to do but wait, then it happens. But it won't be hurried. Because the minute you're trying to hurry it, that introduces the one thing that stops it. The miracle, the magic thing is happening all the time. But you can't see it when you're trying to get it. And you can still less see it when you're trying to get it fast. So there is no alternative but to go through the point of you can't get it at all. You are going to be you. The same slob you've always been. See? You can't change it. And all your good resolutions are just bombast. And then you start to be real. So just as in traveling or in ordinary relations with your friends every day, these gorgeous things happen of themselves. Those are the true pleasures. So at the level of mystical experience, the most astounding insights, where you can go into the deep, most trivial, everyday affairs, as containing the entire secret of the universe. Any point becomes the takeoff point, because there's a principle in operation which the Japanese call jiji muge. Everything event implies all the others. And here, in this way, you begin to see that that is actually so. Because you see, there are no separate things. It's all a single unified process, no longer divided into the voluntary and the involuntary, the I and the you, or the I and the it. Because it is the big happening, which is neither voluntary nor involuntary, which is neither free nor determined. All these are mere ideas about it and about. You've abandoned all that. You've abandoned philosophy totally, because you see it's just a net designed for catching water. And when all that's gone, and that whole attempt to clutch life, to capture the pleasure, has disintegrated, there it is. And you needn't feel anxious about, will it stay? It's a gorgeous thing to feel you've no longer got to worry whether it will stick around. Because you know that if you do worry, you'll shoo it away. So it's a tremendous relief, you see, not to have to bother with, will it stick around? Will I lose my insight? Will my Satori take wing and go off with the bats? You just forget it. Because the more you let go of it, the more it stays. And you don't even have to worry about, will you be sure to let go of it? Because that too is a hang-up. And you can begin, you see, from your very weakness. That's your strength. It's not your big ego and your big will that is the strong thing here. It's your slobbiness, it's your weakness, it's your foolish side that is your strong suit here. See? Yoko Daishi puts it in this way. You cannot take hold of it. You cannot get rid of it. In not being able to get it, you get it. When you are silent, it speaks. When you speak, it is silent. The great gate is wide open, and nobody obstructing it.
Change the world, start off by making your bed. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. To pass SEAL training, there are a series of long swims that must be completed. One is the night swim. Before the swim, the instructors joyfully brief the students on all the species of sharks that inhabit the waters off San Clemente. They assure you, however, that no student has ever been eaten by a shark, at least not that they can remember. But you are also taught that if a shark begins to circle your position, stand your ground. Do not swim away. Do not act afraid. And if the shark, hungry for a midnight snack, darts towards you, then summons up all your strength and punch him in the snout, and he will turn and swim away. There are a lot of sharks in the world. If you hope to complete the swim, you will have to deal with them. So if you want to change the world, don't back down from the sharks. Over a few weeks of difficult training, My SEAL class, which started with 150 men, was down to just 42. There were now 6 boat crews of 7 men each. I was in the boat with the tall guys, but the best boat crew we had was made up of the little guys, the Munchkin crew, we called them. No one was over 5'5". The Munchkin boat crew had 1 American Indian, 1 African American, 1 Polish American, 1 Greek American, 1 Italian American, and 2 tough kids from the Midwest. They out-paddled, outran, and outswam all the other boat crews. The big men in the other boat crews would always make good-natured fun of the tiny little flippers the Munchkins put on their...
A considerable portion of the happenings of life comes to us without any direct choosing on our part, and such happenings are generally regarded as having no relation to our will or character, but as appearing fortuitously, as occurring without a cause. Thus one is spoken of as being lucky and another unlucky, the inference being that each has received something which he never earned, never caused. Deeper thought and a clearer insight into life convinces us, however, that nothing appears without a cause, that cause and effect are always related in perfect adjustment and harmony. That being so, every happening directly affecting us is intimately related to our own will and character, is indeed an effect justly related to a cause having its seat in our consciousness. In a word, involuntary happenings of life are the results of our own thoughts and deeds. This, I admit, is not apparent on the surface, but what fundamental law, even in the physical universe, is so apparent? If thought, investigation, and experiment are necessary to the discovery of the principles which relate one material atom to another, even so are they imperative to the perception and understanding of the mode of action which relate one mental condition to another. And such modes, such laws, are known by the right doer, by him who has acquired an understanding mind by the practice of true actions. We reap as we sow. Those things which come to us, though not by our own choosing, are by our own causing. The drunkard did not choose the delirium tremens or insanity which overtook him, but he caused it by his own deeds. In this case the law is plain to all minds, but where it is not so plain, it is nonetheless true. Within ourselves is the deep-seated cause of all our sufferings, the spring of all our joys. Alter the inner world of thoughts, and the other world of events will cease to bring you sorrow. Make the heart pure, and to you all things will be pure, all occurrences happy and in true order. Within yourselves deliverance must be sought. Each man his prison makes. Each hath such lordship as the loftiest ones. Nay, for with powers above, around below, as with all flesh and whatsoever lives, act maketh joy or woe. Our life is good or bad, enslaved or free, according to its causation in our thoughts. For out of these thoughts spring all our deeds, and from these deeds come equitable results. We cannot seize good results violently, like a thief, and claim and enjoy them, but we can bring them to pass by setting in motion the cause within ourselves. Men strive for money, sigh for happiness, and would gladly possess wisdom, yet fail to secure these things, while they see others to whom these blessings appear to come unbidden. The reason is that they have generated causes which prevent the fulfillment of their wishes and efforts. Each life is a perfectly woven network of causes and effects, of efforts or lack of efforts, and results, and good results can only be reached by initiating good efforts, good causes. The doer of true actions, who pursues sound methods, grounded on right principles, will not need to strive and struggle for good results. They will be there as the effects of his righteous rule of life. He will reap the fruit of his own actions, and the reaping will be in gladness and peace. This truth of sowing and reaping in the moral sphere is a simple one, yet men are slow to understand and accept it. We have been told by a wise one that the children of darkness are wiser in their day than the children of light. And who would expect, in the material world, to reap and eat where he had not sown and planted? Or who would expect to reap wheat in the field where he had sown tares, and would fall to weeping and complaining if he did not? Yet this is just what men do in the spiritual field of mind and deed. They do evil and expect to get from it good, and when the bitter harvesting comes in all its ripened fullness, they fall into despair and bemoan the hardness and injustice of their lot, usually attributing it to the evil deeds of others, refusing even to admit the possibility of its cause being hidden in themselves, in their own thoughts and deeds. The children of light, those who are searching for the fundamental principles of right living, with a view to making themselves into wise and happy beings, must train themselves to observe this law of cause and effect in thought, word, and deed, as implicitly and obediently as the gardener obeys the law of sowing and reaping. He does not even question the law. He recognizes and obeys it. When the wisdom which he instinctively practices in his garden is practiced by men in the garden of their minds, when the law of the sowing of deeds is so fully recognized that it can no longer be doubted or questioned, then it will be just as faithfully followed by the sowing of those actions which will bring about a reaping of happiness and well-being for all. As the children of matter obey the laws of matter, so let the children of spirit obey the laws of spirit, for the law of matter and the law of spirit are one, but they are two aspects of one thing, the outworking of one principle in opposite directions. If we observe right principles or causes, wrong effects cannot possibly accrue. If we pursue sound methods, no shoddy thread can find its way into our web of life. No rotten brick enter into the building of our character to render it insecure. And if we do true actions, what but good results can come to pass? For to say that good causes can produce bad effects is to say that nettles can be reaped from a sowing of corn. He who orders his life along the moral lines thus briefly enunciated will attain to such a state of insight and equilibrium as to render him permanently happy and perennially glad. All his efforts will be seasonally planted. All the issues of his life will be good. And though he may not become a millionaire, as indeed he will have no desire to become such, he will acquire the gift of peace, and true success will wait upon him as its commanding master.
To do is this. You need to empower your intelligence and enhance your competence. This is what you need to do. This is what education is about. This is what life is about. But unfortunately, you think education is about passing an examination. Education is not about passing an examination. Education is about learning. It looks like the world has forgotten about this.
Another point about the mentality when it comes to exams. Exams are hard. Exams take a lot of time to study for and it can be stressful. But the truth is, after I've spent a couple of weeks preparing for an exam, I know that I've studied my best and I've put in the hours and I've put in the effort. If a bunch of questions come up that I've never seen the material for before, that's life. And if I don't do so well, that's okay. I've already done everything that I can in my power to put myself in the best position to do well. If I don't end up doing well, that doesn't mean that it wasn't worth it, all the work that I put in, and that doesn't mean that I didn't make the right decisions when I was studying. That mentality of knowing that you're doing what you can, you're putting in the effort, you're putting in the work, is what helps me de-stress and not worry about upcoming exams. So when we have an exam at the end of the year or at the end of a semester, we'll usually have somewhere between 1 to 3 weeks off from school in order to study. During that time, of course, I study very, very hard and I do a lot of work. However, in reality, I've actually been working towards studying for this exam from the very beginning of that school year, and that's because I take my notes every single day. Whether that's for lectures, tutorials, workshops, whatever it is, every day I put in a small amount of work. So for example, today I have 5 lectures scheduled, and that means by either today or tomorrow I will have written all of my notes for those 5 lectures. So when it comes exam time in December, all I have to do is read them, learn them, memorize them, and I don't have to start from scratch scratch writing those notes or learning that material, because I already did it a couple of months ago in September. I will have already seen all of the material that's going to be tested at least once. So when you're reading it again, it's almost like a second read through. It's like you're building on the foundation of knowledge that you already have. Secondly, around exam time, in those 1 to 3 weeks that we have off in order to prepare for exams, I really do put in the work. Of course, I still maintain a balanced life by going to the gym, doing exercise, seeing my friends, etc. But here the priority is studying for my exams. And during this period, I always study for the exact same number of hours, and I always study with the exact same routine. I set myself a goal of 8 hours of studying in a day. I wake up at 7, I'm at the library, and I start studying at 9. I study from 9 till 1, take a 2-hour lunch break and chill break from 1 till 3, study again from 3 till 7. Now following this, or if I'm still in the studying mood and I feel like I can do more, I'll take a 1-hour break from 7 till 8 and then study from 8 till 9 or 8 till 10 depending on how I'm feeling or how close I am to the exam or how much material there is left, etc. So this structure that I have, this consistency that I have when it comes to studying for exams is something that's very, very beneficial. It's almost like a guaranteed fact of life that I know around exam time, this is the routine that I'm going to have and this is how much studying I'm going to do.
For one who is unwavering in his intention, for him, liberation cannot be denied. The only reason most of the humanity goes about their life, blundering through their life, not knowing which way to go, is because they keep shifting the direction of their life too often. They may not actually change the direction of their life, but in their mind and emotion, it keeps shifting and shifting and shifting and shifting. The very nature of the existence is such today it is also a scientific fact, but this is the experience of every yogi, that in this existence there is energy and there's consciousness. There is no such thing as physical matter. Physical matter, as you know it today, is just concentrated patterns of energy. Today, this is established science. But more than 40,000 years ago, when Shiva spoke, he spoke clearly. His involvement was in absolute consciousness or in the energy, never in the physical matter, because he did not see it as real. And he spoke thus, very clearly, without any ambiguity about it. Do you see somebody is waiting for someone they badly want to see? Only 10 minutes. In the 10 minutes, they will look at the watch 25 times. Why? They want to prepone it. You're doing something that you don't want to do, so you want to postpone it. I'm asking, why the hell are you doing something that you don't want to do? No, because if I do this, I will get that, I will get that. That's not the point. There's nothing to get in this life. There's really nothing to get in this life. Either you lived this life in a profound and intense manner, or you did not. What will you get in the end? Only thing is the process of life. How wonderfully did you live? That's all there is. So if you are doing something really wonderful, do you want to prepone it or postpone it? Prepone it. So you must find what is it that you really want to do. If you find that one thing, you will always prepone everything, not postpone.